All right, guys. Awesome. Welcome, everybody. We're going to get this space started right away. You guys know the drill. Man, we got a good one today. I am so pumped up for this one. All right, guys. So, THORChain is a decentralized exchange that enables you to swap Bitcoin with thousands of other cryptocurrencies, all layer one native tokens. No bridges or wrap tokens are used in this process. It's real layer one, baby, and all from the custody, within your self-custody wallet. There's no KYC on THORChain. That means kill your customer. We don't do that. It's permissionless. All right. THORChain's token is called Rune, and that's spelled RUNE. Rune. You don't need to buy or hold Rune to place a swap on THORChain. Very important design consideration. If you make a swap from BTC to ETH, the starting fees are from BTC, and that pays for all your intermediary gas transactions. It's easy as cake. However, the fees are deducted from your swap and are used to buy Rune, and this Rune is the yield that goes to liquidity pools and nodes. There are no block rewards on THORChain. 100% of the yield is real. THORChain has another token called TCY. TCY. This token is kind of like a preferred stock. 10% of the protocol's revenue goes to these token holders. If you deposited crypto into savers or took out a loan on THORChain, make sure to claim your TCY tokens so you can start collecting this yield, and anyone can buy the TCY token as well. To swap on THORChain, go to thorchain.org, click on swap, and you'll see all the wallets and websites that use THORChain, and you can choose the interface you want to use. And speaking of that, we're going to be having our own interface coming soon, but we're going to talk more about that later. I promise, so stick around. Rujira is building a decentralized Binance on THORChain's smart contract layer. It's being rolled out as we speak. And speaking of Binance, if you guys hold Rune on a centralized exchange, you should withdraw it immediately and put it into self-custody, because your Rune is being used to short sell Rune and drive the price down on yourself. That ain't smart. So get into self-custody. And once in self-custody, you should look into bonding your Rune to a node to earn some yield and help secure the network, which then also drives the Rune price up, right? RuneBond.com is the perfect site to do this. All you got to do is choose a node, request the white list, and then you can bond your Rune. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Do it. There's a THORChain community Discord, and we're going to talk so much about this, you guys. I'm so excited. And Telegram that you can join to learn all about THORChain and make some friends. To find the links, go to @THORcommunity, THOR community account on X. You guys, please repost the space. If you're listening to the recording, you need to repost the space. I'm looking at you right now. If you don't repost the space, I will find you at a conference. It won't be good. It's not a threat. It's a promise. Repost the damn space. Guys, this space is aimed at anyone towards their THORChain journey, whether you're learning about it for the first time or you've been around for years. There will be something for you. And today's a good one, you guys. We got ADR 21 is past. The marketing fund, it's going, it's happening. I hope you guys are pumped. I'm friggin' pumped, but enough of that, guys. Let's get to the thing. My name is Patriot Sounds on the RuneBond account because it glitched when I tried to enter. What are you going to do? Kenton, I'll go ahead and kick it to you, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, man. My name is Kenton THORChain. I have a fund, the Use Your Rune Fund, that invests in Rune and runs nodes on THORChain. So I'm a node operator and bond provider on THORChain. And yeah, I was the guy kind of pushing this ADR 21, so we can talk about that and the front end. And let's pass it off to Baloney Bones so he can introduce himself.
Hello, friends. I am Baloney Bones. I am I would say a 2020 inductee into the THORChain community. That's the exact same time I got started in crypto. We'll get into my little deal here in a bit, but I've been the team lead for the community dev initiative project. It started as LP University, where we taught people how to pool their assets on THORChain. And in multiple evolutions, we've maintained the Discord with a few rebrands. We've recently rebranded to the THORChain community, and that's what I do. I also am kind of the lead for a few content projects for the ecosystem projects. They're, they reach out to us when they know they want, expert stuff done for their particular project. So I kind of work in the back room a lot for THORChain and its friends. So that's what I've been doing.
You do God's work, is what you're saying.
That is correct, sir. Education.
Well, maybe before we talk about 80 or 21 or anything marketing, anything like that, let's stick with you, Baloney, and what you do, because it all does tie in together. So like,
Absolutely.
what kickstarted off me and you chatting was me basically volunteering you to become the help desk for the new THORChain front end. And I'm like, I said it publicly a few times, and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? I actually have to talk to this guy first and make sure he's cool with it. And I did, and you were really ecstatic. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this guy's gonna come jump down my throat because I've been like putting work onto him without even talking to him. And when I actually did talk to you, you're like, dude, this is awesome. I'm pumped. I want to do this. Like you were jacked, and I'm like, wow, like it was such an amazing response. I'm really glad you're supportive. You want to do this. So but maybe let's just maybe let's dial back a bit more. Like, how did you said you're in THORChain in 2020? Like, how did you find out? How did you get into it? Like, were you in like pre like in the BEP swap days? Like, yeah, kind of let's start from the beginning. Tell us a bit more.
So once upon a time, I was a very, very, I was going the academic route. I got my master's, and I became a teacher as was planned, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was a very, very good teacher. I just I was invited to a retirement party for a old coworker that I had a very positive relationship. Now, like, I live right down the street from him. I was invited to his house, and I taught two of his kids, and it was really nice to hear that I was actually their favorite teacher, and they were bringing up lessons that I had taught them. So I really enjoyed my time being a teacher, and I taught 11th grade, like AP language and American Lit. So I was the humanities director for the school. So philosophy, art, take them on field trips and stuff like that. So it was very good. But at the same time, like, if I had continued, I realized I was looking at my finances back in that day, like 2019, early 2020. I was looking, and if I had stayed with doing that, I would have ended up homeless under the bridge. Like that, it's just it sucks. It kind of like push for great teachers is thwarted by the amount of so the salaries that they get, which really stinks. So I had to look for alternative means of income, like higher stakes, really. And it was just about that time where COVID was. My brother and a few of my family members lived out in California at the time, and there were the COVID lockdowns in 2020, and all my family, they were losing their minds. So they all moved back. I'm from the East Coast, and they all moved back East Coast. And I met up with my brother for the first time in several years, and we were sitting at the bar together. It was mid-afternoon, and I was telling him my woes, like, I'm a really good teacher, I love doing this, but I'm poor as hell. I don't even know how I can buy these beers. So he was like, all right, we're like, settle in here, partner. And he ended up introducing me to THORChain during the sit at the bar at this like coastal time. And we shut the place down. It was like a 6 to 7 hour conversation. I think we drank the whole case. I think we depleted the bar's stocks of Dogfish Head 60 minute. That's what we were drinking. And he went into the math of the original THORChain design, how it worked, what's an AMM, what are liquidity pools, and all this, and and what is decentralization, the whole vocabulary glossary of DeFi. He had to introduce me to, and I was hooked. I couldn't get enough of what this conversation was about. And you would like, we read the white paper while I was sitting there, and I, I probably did what many people advise you not to do. I took out a personal loan of 10 grand and I threw it all into Rune. I think it was like, I don't know, something around my DCA eventually ended up in 2020 around like 58 cents. But yeah, it's like, I'm a constant. I've been here since 2020, and when I realized when I actually and it finally entered. Oh, and since I've paid back that loan. Not to worry, not to worry. But I was hooked, and I was in the community. I'd followed all the accounts he had suggested that I do, and back then I realized something that was like, okay, so what my brother was doing for me was 6 to 7 hours of like intense mathematical algorithmic explanations and design of a decentralized system of what that concept even means. And I realized that, like, okay, this is niche as fuck. There's like not many people are going to understand the brilliance of what the hell this thing is. And that's when, so I entered when it was I remember it was 3 weeks left of Rune Vault. And so I got like 3 weeks of Rune Vault goodies. And then it moved over to BepSwap. And it was a really challenging process to get Rune back then. You had to do it on Binance, and Binance in the United States didn't work. So all of this stuff, there was like probably all in all, it was like a 12-step process of actually acquiring BNB Rune back in the day. But we did it. It was a huge pain in the ass, a lot of fees, and I did this. And so it was one thing to really, kind of be red pilled on the ingenuity and the genius of what was designed in like in mathematical like complexities. It was entirely another thing to disseminate this information to multiple people. And so what I started to realize, I started to play around in these pools back in the DeFi summer, and I realized, like, okay, they work in a pretty predictable fashion if you take the time to learn about it, which most people don't know how to do. This was back then. This is not anymore, but at least for the non synth left pools. But so that's another thing. But anyway, back in 2020, it was a pretty predictable system. And what I started doing was showing and kind of putting on Twitter back then about what my gains were, what my intentions were behind pooling, what I was trying to do. It wasn't just trying to increase APR. Like many people have different reasons for doing different financial activities and behaviors. And so essentially I created this little guide for, if you want to do this, then you do that, with regards to the pools. And I got to give it up to Jane Butterfly back in the day. She recommended that I start a Discord, and I was like, nah, But it was persistent, and I eventually did. I was thinking like seven people were gonna join, and within 4 months we had 20,000 people in there, and these were not like just a bunch of scammers. It was a lot of activity. There were 20,000 active users, and THORChain reached out to me. I never even, these famous people who the creators of the project, they reached out and they're like, great work, keep doing that, and the treasury will support your efforts. So I was still a teacher at this time.
So sorry, Baloney. So you started the Discord all on your own without a treasury grant. You just went and did it.
Yeah. We were doing it
Then
for a few months.
It got to 20,000 people. You're dealing with it. Then did the treasury offer you money, or did you go ask them for money?
Yeah, no, I didn't. Kai reached out to me. He DM'd me and he said, "How much do you want?" And I was, I grew up poor, and I was always never wanted to get in. And one, I was like, I didn't even know that this was going to be a thing. I didn't do this for money. I did this because people needed to learn this stuff. And he reached out, and I said, I don't know, $1,500 for it. And he was like, done. What's your address? And he sent it. So they reached out to me, and you know, the rest is history, kind of, where we continued to build this relationship. And so what I was doing was I was kind of the Walmart greeter back then, where our Discord was the place to go, and hopefully soon. I mean, the way it's looking, it's going to be very soon again, this case. But so I was in between classes. Like my students would leave the class, and I was still teaching at this time. And my students would leave. I would hop on a call with like Gavin, the former CEO of Nine Realms, and we would just talk for 5 minutes, and I would, you know, welcome new members to the community and who was joining the Discord. It's kind of, you know, here's your sticker, you know, as you walk in the door. And it was really a lot of fun. It got to be the point where I was, the treasury was, you know, thrilled to be able to support my efforts in a way that I was, and they were supporting me far more than the school I was working at financially. So my students and I had great relationships, and they were like, Mr. My name is Mr. Bones to all of you, but they were like, Mr. B, you have to go spread your wings and fly. And I was like, oh man, you're right. Like this is getting to be too busy, you know, managing this Discord. And there were all the kids joined it, and they were, whoa. So I ended up leaving my job. This was all of 2021. So we were there during the run up to all time high, and I ended up leaving the school in January 2022, and went full-time crypto. And this was largely due to Nine Realms CEO Gavin and Orion, and those guys were like very, very supportive of me and what I was doing and helping to build the user base and get people to learn about how the hell THORChain works, because it's complicated. So we were like, our initiatives were always educational focused, and it seems like the team who there's so little turnover, and where in like my private team that we deploy to, you know, different initiatives here and there. We've worked with Volt. I say we continue to work with Maya, and you know, name a product front end, and we'll probably have built their support academy. You know, so over the years, it's kind of been where like a filter of all of the educators, like Sam Yap, you know, got to get about to that guy, and they've all kind of filtered into what I do, and we've built a really, really solid team of people with integrity, for one thing. That's a rare find in crypto, and that THORChain generally, I would say that like we have no small part. I would say we have a pretty significant role in kind of framing the THORChain community's ethos to be around like intellectual debate, curiosity, like higher learning, integrity is a thing. So there's been that, and I'm really proud of my team and what we've been able to do with kind of guiding over the years, guiding the narrative, the overall narrative of like, this is what THORChain's about, and this is what the community and the culture is about. And so yeah, we were invited to stay, basically.
Dude, that's an incredible story. That's amazing.
It's been wild.
Yeah, and like, man, I really hope everybody, all the Thorch heads, listen to that, because you know this, you know, some people have been criticizing me about, you know, Bitcoin doesn't pay for any marketing and blah blah blah, and like, well, Bitcoin has thousands of people who are just self-actualized, going out and spreading the message, and they'll spend their own money doing it, especially their own time, and that's why Bitcoin is so huge. And you know, every decentralized project needs that. They need, you know, we're all owners of this project, right? And we all need to go out and pitch it and prophesize it. And I mean, you embody that to a T. Like, you know, just some guy, no offense, but you know, you're just, you know,
literally just some guy, dude.
yeah, regular guy. Like, we're all regular guys, and you're like, you just fell down the rabbit hole, and you're like, I'm just gonna keep going with this, and look at where it led you. You know, not only was it something you're interested in and passionate about, but you actually found a way to make money off it and support yourself. You know, like, you can't ask for a better outcome. So I hope it's inspiring to everyone else listening, that, I know there's some people who probably think, oh, I'm a nobody, I can only afford $200 a rune and I only have 14 followers on my Twitter or whatever. And like, just get rid of that mindset. Just,
Yeah.
if you're into it and you like it, and you find something where like, I know I can add value, I can do something, like, just start doing it.
This is
And
this is the space,
yeah.
man. That, like I ended up, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but like
No, go ahead, go ahead.
when I back in 2020, 2021, I was introduced to people that we were doing good work, and my team was effective. And even like I think Sam Yap like has said many times, like this is the space where you can literally, it's all self-starting. If you want to do something and you want to make it happen, this is the place where you can do it. Like I was in meetings, like if I had gone through fucking like LinkedIn and shit, if I had done that, I would never have been in conversations and Google meetings and Zoom meetings and with people that more or less would be at the top of the skyscraper in New York City. Like that's the way that I was framing it. Like I was in conversations with CEOs of like massive companies, and it was just because you just keep saying yes to stuff, and you grind. And I've been grinding for the past 5 years, dude. I work far more hours than a human should, but like, but it's continued. I don't know, it's reinvigorating every single day that like all you get these young people that come in and they're hungry, and you kind of like I'm really grateful to be able to be in a space where I can kind of lift someone, where okay, you have these incredible skills and talents, all you need to do is like to pay your bills each month, and then you are going to elevate the engagement numbers, the performance metrics by, X percent over the course of the month. So, and it's all because you want to do that. I'm not forcing anybody to stay with us. They've stayed for several of my people have stayed for like 4 years, there's almost no turnover rate because they like what they do. And yeah, it's awesome, dude. All right, thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, no, and I love the fact you told us about your history as a teacher, because that's another thing too. Like, I think a lot of people are like, they love crypto, they're into it and whatever, but they're like, I'm not a developer. I don't know how to write code. I can't, read a blockchain. And I'm like, guys, me neither.
Yeah,
Like, and it's, you don't have to, right? It's, we're a team. Let the devs read the code and write the code, right? And there's something else you can do on the team. And like, your background as a teacher, that's what you found an interesting way to leverage your experience, right? I need to help, I need to teach people, educate people. You don't have to know the code of an AMM to explain the math behind it, right?
yeah,
But what you do have to be good at is, how do I take a complicated subject and dumb it down to it for a 10-year-old? That's your job. You know how to do
yeah,
that, right? You're trained in that, and so you leverage your TradFi meat space experience, whatever you want to call it, into crypto. And if more people do that, it'll make THORChain, and any project for that matter, it makes it that much stronger, because you have all these different perspectives and all these different experiences that people are leaning on and throwing into this soup, right? And we're all
mhm,
better for it. And I'm a tell you guys a bit about my background. I was a petroleum engineer for 10 years. And I just, kind of similar, it was paying my bills, but I'm like, I just didn't enjoy it, and like I could
yeah,
have, if I stuck with it, I could have done very well. Oil and gas it's a very cushy job, very easy, great pay. It's boom and bust, but engineers tend to do really well. And I'm like, I just don't like it, and I want to get into finance. And so what I found was that I'm like, but I don't have a finance background. I didn't go to business school. I don't have an MBA. I started writing the CFA just to show people I was serious. And what I found was that these finance firms, they loved engineers. Didn't even have to be
mm,
necessarily a petroleum engineer. They just liked hiring engineers because it's easier to teach an engineer finance than a
yeah,
finance guy engineering.
oh yeah,
And engineers have a much more analytical mind and blah, blah, blah. And so um, I ended up becoming a shoo-in for this company and that specialized in investing in oil and gas and mining companies, and their whole shtick was hiring engineers and geologists from industry. Like I was a shoo-in, and then like you said, I was immediately like at the top of the food chain, and
Yeah.
I'm like, holy smokes! And I'm like, and I've got no experience in finance, right? And I did that for 10 years, and now I'm talking to you guys in this space. But I hope people hear that and they understand that it doesn't matter what your background is. If you're smart and you're motivated, you can find a way to leverage that experience and make yourself stand out and be unique and be valuable. Like even if you're a babysitter, you can figure out a way to do it, you know? So I hope everyone listening takes that to heart and does something with it.
Well, and one thing, dude, if I can piggyback off that, one thing I'll say is like, for what we, and it was funny because the Friday before, a week before I put in my notice for the school, the head of the school gave a, you know, I don't know, I felt inspired because he put on a VR headset back in 2020, and he did, and it was like in a it pulled back the veil of Maya, and he saw the light basically, and he called the whole school together, and he basically said like, students, if you like have your wits about you, you probably know more about it than I do, but like our AI is coming, people, and like technology is going to be far different than what your current, I would say, like, and he was talking to the seniors mostly, but he was saying like, have this involved in your future, like but and so there was the next week afterwards, because he said, he was like, we're going to lose teachers to these kinds of jobs, and I walked in, I was like, he was like, it's you're the first one, aren't you? I was like, yes. But what I was saying was like, with what we do, we've always been and I got to give it up to Grassroots. He's been doing this before I even started doing this. So like Chris from Grassroots Crypto, it was I would say the first real true educator and putting out content about um and consistently, like it wasn't like he's still doing that shit. So Chris was a huge boon to the success, I would say, of like the video side, of the multimedia side of things for us. um but yeah, it's really like, even more than whatever it says on your qualifications, you know, screw all that. It's, if you're hungry, then you can do it. Like that, I would say it's all about growth. And if you've got the motivation, like, time collapses. It doesn't take as long as you think it takes to get into spaces where you didn't know you'd be. um it really, you know, you will be supported. I would say the nature of phenomenal existence will support like a hungry, inspired person, as opposed to grinding at your job you don't like, you know.
Absolutely. So let's okay, so let's keep going with this. So the Discord that you started, that was LP University?
LP
That's what it was.
University, it
Okay.
was back in the day. And so the reason that I ended up taking the leap of faith, and then left my job, was that Gavin, he from 9 Rounds, and he was looking at what I was doing, and I, you know, this is fame to say this publicly, but he was like, what you're doing is, you know, with DeFi and the fragmentation of these protocols, the way that the crypto industry is set up, there isn't, you know, the decentralized aspect of it kind of necessitates that everyone's in their own pockets. And with you doing the educational, like, you hop into an island, you know, and you do DeFi native protocol education, and you do this, and it's cookie cutter, and you can take your template over to another thing and do that. And like, and I was telling you, I think I told you last week or so, like we did that. Our proposal, or grant funding, was on the desk of Terra. And we were set to become Terra University. We had it. We have people in the Discord. Do Kwon's Fossil is still in TCC. And I'm leaving him in there until the full run. I just like looking at Do Kwon being in there. But yeah, so like we started building out different LPUs basically, and we started doing this cookie cutter stuff. And while, I mean, this is a major industry, like there's something to be done there for sure. Once DeFi kind of is able to scale, but it needs these pockets. It needs Binance Academy, but for each separate individual protocol, because the math is different and the mechanisms to buy are different and the chains are different. So yeah, we started out as LPU. I didn't have any clearly I had no background in branding, but because it, wasn't affiliated directly with THORChain, blah blah blah. But we started out there, and I think there kind of became THORChain scaled enough to a point where we should probably be a more, I would say, focused branding effort. So we eventually changed over to THORChain University, where we kind of framed ourselves in a way where we are we're the library, we're the museum, and we are the curators of educational content for THORChain and the THORChain ecosystem. And that was a much more honed and focused, I would say, initiative. And rather than just teach people how to pool, it appealed to a larger breadth of content and breadth of interests levels. So I was very happy to do that, and we only recently just changed out of that.
That's awesome. So okay, so started as LP University, then became THORChain University. Now it's been renamed, kind of rebranded to THORChain Community. Is that correct?
Yeah. So at the beginning of what I always do is, like, at the beginning of the year, and we've been I have a great relationship with the Treasury, great relationship with Nine Realms, and what I like to do before both, before submitting any quarterly proposal and before the next year, I always ask, like, before 2025 started, I met up with Orion and said, what are we looking at for 2025? Where are we? Where do you want to be halfway through? Where do you want to be at the end? And how can, we align with that? How can we support from our little pocket? How can we help those efforts? And we build out, a little design of a schedule of what we're going to do when. And with everything that happened with THORFi, that kind of there were things that needed to shift around there. But that's what I like to do. And one thing that we discussed was that THORChain University, it seemed that everybody that was in THORChain we did our job, basically. The THORChain University, we taught everybody. Everybody kind of understood who's an active user, who's active in the community. They all know enough as to how THORChain works now, and we've done our job. I don't know whether it's people read the articles or people listen to spaces or just overall educated. Like at the beginning, I mean, we were teaching the people who are now Nine Realms employees, and we taught a lot of the fundamental OGs how all of this stuff works, and then everybody kind of learned their thing. So we saw a lot of, basically everyone who is in the community, now is a graduate of TC University. And what happened was that we became less, we didn't get used as much, we didn't get tapped in, and I felt the kind of like empty nest syndrome where we're like, oh, everybody's like, everybody's got their peacock wings and they're flying everywhere. So I was very happy about that, but also at the same time, I was like, oh, did we just make ourselves obsolete? And so I talked to Orion about this. I talked to Nine Realms, and like, how do we continue to support in new ways? And what they were basically, the idea we came to was that we rebrand into the community. Like it's always been kind of an implied, because you're this, and back in the day, there was a THORChain community Discord. Like LPU ate it within 3 weeks. I think they shut it down. Just because they're like, we don't need to do this anymore because you just doubled our numbers in 2 weeks or something. So we ate the THORChain community original Discord, and we've been the community implication, I would say, the hypothetical community Discord for all these years, but we never kind of stepped into and accepted those clothes before. So what we did was we've set out a rebranding plan and an initiative, and we rolled that out. And we've kind of been since like gearing up to create the structures for being able to house a lively community again, where we're you know, we have to kind of shed those academic nerd glasses that we've had for the past 3 years, you know, and kind of change out of our mindset to where we're only educators, you know, and we don't do anything else. But now it's culture. And so we, like, just yesterday and the past 3 or 4 days, I had been changing over by hand, manually, looking into everyone who's in the THORChain community Discord and going into their roles. And, you know, we used to have it set up where it was freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, then your master's and your PhD. And this was kind of like a hierarchy of, like, if you're a PhD, that means you're a core dev contributor to some protocol. And then you work your way down. And we shed this over the past couple of days, and, you know, we're waiting to kind of strike when the moment's right, and I believe that's coming up soon. But we're growing out and into like shedding our old mold and growing into a new one, as to where our kind of ethos is evolving to where we are a cultural piece of the community rather than only an educational piece of the community. So I'm really excited. There's a lot of stuff that we've been doing it behind, like, not publicly, but we're just about there.
Nice, man. Yeah, you mentioned teaching a lot of the OGs. I'm pretty sure it was the LPU Discord where you had, wasn't there like a bot where you could throw in some parameters for your what you're doing for liquidity pooling, and it would spit out
Yeah.
like all kinds of metrics on it, and you could actually like forecast. You know, you could put in like, oh, what if the Rune price is this and Bitcoin price is that? You know, what would my LP position be and stuff like that? That was the bot in LPU, right?
Yeah. So we had, and this was pre-synth,
Yeah.
pre-synth. So everything, the calculator worked as it does for all non-synth leveraged pools, and it still works just as well as it did. But we pulled it because everyone, or when I say we pulled it, we removed it from visibility, for not, so that no one was confused about it, because synthetics did affect those numbers. So, but yeah, we had that. And Piet wrecked. He is an awesome dude. He's like been our mod that kind of, like, if we need like high technical stuff, we were working on back in the day. And he does Thor charts, and that's like, I remember building out an app for that back. We still have all of the designs for it, and we were going to be, I think, kind of broker for the time being. They kind of took that idea and ran with it, where that, like, you can submit, and Nami Protocol, I'm so stoked for what they're doing. JP Nami, got a meeting with him next week, and I like those kinds of DeFi kind of degen methods of entry and exit, and I just love it, because that was what was inspiring back in the day. And we never got off the ground because we were too busy educating. But yeah, we built some structures out that we still have the templates for. And it's just a ton of fun. It's really great to see other people saying, like, well, we don't have the time. And look at, there's Nami Index. So yeah, it's awesome.
Nice. Yeah, and that's actually, so, you know, I've been in the developer Discord, you know, just as long, and it's something I've noticed over time. I'm like, you know, we really need a place for you know, non-devs to go, right? You know, how many times have we seen in the dev Discord, you know, no price talk, you know, go somewhere else, and it's like, well, where can we send them? And or, you know, people just have more general basic questions, or they even just want to chit chat, you know, like, you know, post a meme or something. And like, you know, it's fine to say, you know, this is dev Discord, you know, please don't do that here, but we should have a place for them to go, right? For a place for people to go congregate and go hang out with each other and you know, shoot the shit, right? And so, you know, that's what I see the THORChain community Discord as. So in my eyes, in my mind, the THORChain community Discord that is the one that should become huge. You know, if there's gonna be one that's gonna get 100,000 you know, 100,000 people in it, it should be that one. And the dev Discord should say small and just like, high signal to noise. Like we don't want the devs, moderating or getting involved in like, kind of online arguments or anything like that. It should just be like
100%.
right. And
that was the idea behind the rebranding, where it was trying to funnel people out of the dev Discord back. And the thing is, like, we've existed this whole time. But everyone moved into the dev Discord when they realized that they could get access and the ear of the core devs. And like that really, as much as you want that to be, wow, that's really I don't know, wholesome kind of thing. It also it makes the progress of all things the viscosity of molasses. Things move slow as hell when you have that much bandwidth taken up by having to listen to everybody. That's why municipalities have councils and things like that. So I I would say that like the idea was at the beginning of this year 2025, me, Ryan and I came up with like, yeah, we need to get people moving from the dev Discord. Activity needs to move back into the community Discord, and we need a rebranding effort to do that. And so yeah, dude, we're rocking and rolling with that, and our structures are set up. And I'm bringing on an intern and ex-interns, so our socials engagement is going to increase tenfold starting in September, which I'm stoked about, because that's something that I'm a great teacher, but I'm not a great brand. I don't know, socials person. I'm not on there a lot. So, yeah, we've got a lot of good stuff coming out to be that.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's definitely needed. Yeah, I'm glad you see that too. Shoot, I had it's on the top of my mind. Keep going. Oh, go ahead, Patriot.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I just want to say, Kenton, and to anyone listening, we will not have a better customer service team than the people that work with Baloney Bones. Anything and everything that has ever happened on THORChain, we have a team of OGs that have seen it all, from the earliest problems on THORChain to the latest, quirks, idiosyncrasies, nuances, stuff like that. Dude, I am so unbelievably excited. And to what you were saying, Baloney Bone, I think this is just another part where you guys, where we all step up, right? Because it was people like Sam Yap and you and others that actually trained me on the Telegram side, right? And I've popped in occasionally in the Discord and helped in there as well. The THORChain interface is going to have just the best customer service ever. And I am so unbelievably excited. I really am. I mean, usually if you have like any company, they have to like do a third party source,
dude,
or customer service where they have a different accent, a different and they've got a simple, generic understanding. This team will have an in-depth, personal, very, very intimate understanding of the core mechanics and be able to help people efficiently and effectively. First time, right? Boom, this happened. Okay, boom, 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 solution. And that, I think that's great, dude.
It's funny, man, because like I, with the nature of what I do and just life in general, I find myself on these customer support, and everybody has to do it, but like, dude, that process is so frustrating. And it's like but one of the lesser fun things about modern day existence is having to be on customer support. But like, yeah, but for what we do, it's 24/7. We've got people all over the world that are tapped in. And you bring like, oh, my transaction's stuck, whatever, or I can't figure out how to connect my wallet. Like, we have that, and within every X amount of minutes, you'll get a response, and you will be resolved. And it is I would say like the decentralized. It's like guerrilla support, guerrilla organic grassroots customer support it's bottom up stuff, man. It's like, we need this. Okay, there it is. And like, yeah, we have the archive. We built the archive of all of the information. That's all everything that's happened. I am an editor of the THORChain docs, and so we know what's going on. And yeah, we're the people who can get you the help you need. And that's the thing. It's like, we funneling people to us, they will recognize the utility of what we do instantly, pretty much. If you need an issue resolved, then we've got you. And it's done 24/7, real time, every day. You know, we're there, and you don't get that a lot, I guess. So I think we provide a very unique value to I would say how a business runs, you know, like not a lot of people have that type of customer support where you can hop on and it's like, hey, multiple people will like, hey, let's all help this guy, you know? So it's useful and it's helpful. And I like that THORChain supports it. And I really, really am humbled and grateful that THORChain, since, you know, when I started, they have supported the educational efforts. They've supported the community efforts through supporting us. So they want us to be here, and I'm really that only lends further credence to my feeling about, you know, the redemption arc. So yeah, we're good at what we do. I'll tell you that.
That's why we'll win. We'll
Yeah.
come back because, like Patriot, you mentioned about outsourcing, and like I've I'm looking into marketing, right? I'm talking to all these marketing firms and what they offer and all this kind of stuff. And a lot of them offer like social media and Discord support. Well, they will go manage the community or create a community. And I'm like, well, we don't need that. And so, and then I'm asking a bit more about it. And like, they're basically just like, part-time people for hire that, they have like, probably 5 other projects they're working on too. And not really part of the community. They're just, yeah, they start the Discord and they'll have the channels and people might pop in and respond, but like, they're not real community members, right? They're just part-timers for hire. Whereas,
more or less grifters, dude.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, how can
and
you
yeah,
really build a business or a brand on that? Whereas
it's
THORChain
feigning interest.
was literally started by some guy who's passionate and ran with it. Like you can't ask for a better backbone.
Yeah,
Right? A
and
better
we
creation.
have the language. We have not and it's just us, like we have years of experience. Like they've also experienced the hacks. You know that in 2021 they've experienced, like it's not just experiences in like I've been doing it a while. It's the emotional investment of being a community member for 5 years. You know, and that we arrived to each support ticket with that, and we're still here. You know, no, we haven't left, and we're as here and present as we've ever been. And yeah, I would say like you can't buy that, dude. Like you can't purchase that kind of. I was here since 2020, and I'm still here through all of the ups and downs, um, because I support like THORChain's approach to decentralized finance. You know.
You're absolutely right. This is really one of the main reasons I've stuck it out with THORChain this past year, is because everyone, some rats have jumped ship, but overall, most people are here. They're staying with it. They're sticking with it. They're not leaving. And I've even heard that there's some OGs coming back in, wanting to work and develop on THORChain now again. So I mean, with Chad Bareford, he's a great example. So you can't buy that, right? If people like you, Baloney, and everyone else, send the Sammy apps, but Patriot, you get like, these, really core community members. If while you guys were leaving, jumping ship, I'm like, okay, there's something wrong. But everyone's still here. Everyone's still contributing. Everyone's still going. And like you can't buy that. It's impossible, right? And it really goes to show the value of the product and the community, that like you guys aren't sticking around because you have nothing else better to do. It's because we all see the same vision, right? We
Yeah.
all get it. We all know the potential here. Yeah, we've had a rough patch, but there's definitely a path out of this, and we're on that path.
And I feel the same exact way. And like the fact that my team is still here, and I mean I would say the biggest part of why people like any team member had left in the past was because of the Terra collapse, you know. And that's nothing to do with THORChain. That's having to go get a job because you had a lot of money and Luna or something, so but they're still in the Discord, and it's just I would say the team that I have, they're smart, they are intelligent, and they are insightful and reflective, and they think about what they're like. They're deliberate with their actions, and the fact that they're still hanging around and providing support. Yeah, we see something there, and we like it's the red pill, man. It's you can't go back. And you can evolve. You can say that this is no longer sustainable or working, but that's what we see is still completely on the table for what our original idea and vision was, and what THORChain's original idea and vision was for becoming the liquidity mode of the world.
Yeah, and that's all going to come through in your help desk. So like, when we get the THORChain front end going, there's definitely going to be problems. There's definitely going to be bugs, right? It's impossible to not have that. And but what matters more is how we respond to them. And if people have a place to go where they're welcomed, they're helped, they don't feel like they're being we've all experienced it. So many times you guys called your help desk for whatever product you have, and you sit on hold, you get kicked from one person to another, you can't get anything figured out, and you just like, I just want my money back and never deal with you again type thing, right? And but if we can, I'm positive you guys are going to provide the exact opposite experience, where it's like help people as much as you can, as quickly as you can. Everything you're going to do is within whatever is humanly possible, right? And that's going to connect with people. People are going to see that, recognize it, and that's how we create customers for life. And so yeah, I'm really, really pumped for you guys and what you have been doing, what you are doing, and what you can do.
Yeah, and I appreciate you, and that comes back to like me. The reason why I'm so thankful is like you've reinvigorated the like a noble purpose. Like with THORChain University, we had done what we set out to do. We taught everybody everything, and now you've given us like new life with being able to support the community in a new and totally fresh way. To where we're going to be, well, it's like we're getting called again, we're getting deployed, and I'm really stoked and grateful for you to have thought of us. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, dude, and I think THORChain University is just getting started. And for what it's worth, I'm glad you changed it from university to community, because I don't think anybody wants to go to school, right? They want to be part of a community, right?
Totally.
But I mean, gosh, you throw in like Rujira and app layer, and also, and I'm like I just read that article on orbital pools, and I'm like, oh my God, like this. And I hear Pragmatic Monkey and Hans talk about these things. I'm like, oh man, I'm like,
Giga brain.
I don't get it. Yeah, I'm like, I got to learn, I got to sit back and learn all this over again. And they're working on like 30 things like that.
I know.
And so, your Discord is going to become university squared. Like, there's going to be so much for us to learn, for everybody to learn, even the OGs, right? And, a lot of people talk about, some of the devs have said, we're going to get these things done over the next, year, 18 months, and then we're kind of done with THORChain. I think THORChain's done evolving. I'm like, no, guys, this is never going to end. We are if we stop if we stop, research and development, if we stop developing, if we stop evolving, then we die. Because there's always going to be competition. There's always going to be somebody else doing something new that we can copy. There's going to be some guy in somebody who's never heard of THORChain today is going to come around in 2 years and be some genius and be like, guys, we should do this and do that. I'm like, yeah, that's amazing. Let's do it, right? Like this is an ongoing process. It's not, I don't think THORChain will ever truly ossify. Maybe in the broader sense, a bigger sense, but like there's always going to be some feature, something new to do and learn about. So
The Rujira suite, DeFi suite, is just, I mean, that alone is going to give, that's modules that'll take you months to learn fully, and if you want to, and you don't even have to, and JP Nami, he's in this spaces right now. I'm meeting with him next week to kind of talk, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do with him, and providing community support for what he's got going on. The dudes, all of it is like The DeFi is, it feels like Rujira has brought like what to DeFi summer was all about, like back to the front and actually like in a sustainable, solvent way. And
Yes.
that's what it's going on, man. That's what's happening right now, and it's freaking exciting.
Well, I actually want to. So I want to talk a little about the help support function, right? Because you're totally right about Rujira. There's going to be so many amazing things. So a couple days ago, or 3 days ago, something like that, we had some pop in the Telegram, and it was a crazy edge case, right? Not a big deal. You know, it's about $800-900, but it was a refund mechanism that didn't work. I don't know why. I don't understand the edge case, but you know, they came in Telegram. I identified it pretty quickly as something that you know is not typical, and then I forwarded it to Jima, right? And now Jima's in charge of him. But something you know happened, and I was wondering if we have a solution to this, where I wanted them to go to a Discord channel, and they didn't have Discord, and they were not interested in Discord. So I wonder if on the interface, on the THORChain interface, are we going to have like a make relay function for people on the interface that'll connect to Discord, but it's like it's relay, right? That you don't need a profile on Discord. And if for the people who maybe say like I need help and they want to click the helps function, but for some reason they don't want to use Discord, or I've heard people say they can't download it. I don't know. I don't really understand that. Is there thoughts around this idea?
That's a Kenton question, but I've heard that
That's a
too.
great question that I've never thought of. Thanks,
Yeah,
Rachel.
same.
Hey, go ahead, Baloney.
No, I was just saying, like, if you build it, we will come. That is something I've heard many times. Like, I'm not downloading Discord for that, and I say like that's your totally your prerogative. That's where our current, like, we don't have, like, you go to it's always the one where they don't. I remember being the most frustrated with was when I had to deal with them, and I don't anymore. But Wells Fargo, their customer support, and it's just you go there and you wait and you wait, and the support they say they offer is just, it's just not present, and so they have the structures there, um, but they don't have the actual person around to do that thing. So, and when you do find somebody, they don't actually know the answer to what your question is. So I would love for users to have that function where you don't have to switch windows, you don't have to switch applications. That's it's all about collapsing these days. And you know what we're going to with AI, you're going to have one interface that interacts with all of your apps, and you won't ever have to go into an app again. You know, that's what's coming, and I think for us to be ahead of the curve on that would only do us well, for sure.
Yeah, I think to make it as frictionless as possible. I don't know. I'm just brainstorming this live. But some make relay function that opens a ticket on Discord. That way, they just one click and they're getting help. They don't have to download Discord. They don't have to. They don't have to make a profile. Just real simple. I need help. Here's the help. Efficient.
I just jumped in Telegram to put it in our group chat with the couple guys and JP and everyone building the front end. So we'll see what they say.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
Like, see, we bake in real time, boys and girls. I love it.
Yeah. There's got to be a solution. I feel like there can't be. Yeah. I feel like
Discord's
we'll
not
be
for
able to figure that
everybody,
out.
for sure, and
Yeah,
that's
we'll
totally
figure it out.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, good thinking, Dennis. That was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Baloney, you mentioned Rujira. Is there like does Rujira have like a Rujira University or whatever? Like, are you in touch with them? Like, you guys gonna, because so like on the THORChain front end, I want to have all the app layer stuff there too. And so, when people are using it, they're not going to know the difference between THORChain and Rujira, right? So you're definitely going to get questions about app layer stuff. Are you in touch with the Rujira devs that they can help answer questions? Are you going to be up to speed with it? Like, how are you going to navigate all that?
Back in the day, I would say earlier this year, I was working directly with Rujira, marketing efforts, and working, and we did those several live streams with interviewing the secondary project devs and also the core devs, and have a great relationship with those guys. I think that Rujira intends to handle their stuff on their own terms. um I'm more than like happy to have a method, a more seamless method of moving over. But like if you are bringing those things to the front end, then that's what we teach about. So it's really about the umbrella and the branding. So I if Rujira, they want us to provide direct support for what they do, they are totally at ease to reach out, and we do provide support for things of that nature. But I would say, in order, like we have to also be compensated for that. You know, we teach about THORChain and we teach about the app layer to a certain extent. If they want in depth kind of builds for their like having embeds to teach you about and walkthroughs and guides and things like that. I'm more than happy to do it. If somebody wants us to do it, they can reach out. We're really as Humble Bumble always says, we move like water, man. You know, if you want us to do it, we can do it.
Well, it might have to be maybe a joint effort or something, because like,
For sure.
right now we're sharing 50-50 the fees, right? And like,
Yeah.
so, my vision, what I want is the THORChain front end to have all the same functionality as Ruji Network, and but just THORChain branded, and PM gets it. He's like, yeah, of course, like, Rujira shouldn't care who's using their app, so long as people are using it, right?
Yeah.
And they make the same amount of money. So
really of over open source,
yeah, and so they should want to pitch in, and THORChain should want to pitch in, and we're making money too. So obviously it's not something we have to agree or decide on this call right this second, but just something to think about, that could be, the L1 swap stuff is pretty simple. It probably is going to be app layer. It's going to require much more education and help and handholding.
Totally.
So, and it does behoove THORChain to help people understand it too.
We have a dedicated like Rujira channel in there too. So like we've got the structure to support Rujira questions.
Cool. Yeah, I would assume I'm going to speak for them, but I'm sure their devs would be more than happy to help as well, right? So
yeah, we need to get it. We need to get people in there, man.
Yeah.
Join the Discord.
We have the profile up top, guys. Join and follow the profile, THORChain community profile. Go ahead, Kenton.
Yeah. What's the handle again? THOR community?
Yes.
Yeah. And how do you look at the link to the Discord? How do we get that? It's on the
I sent it to you guys in our chat on Discord. So if you want to pop it in the chat, go ahead.
No, but if somebody's listening to the recording, like they're stoked, they're jacked. I want to get into THORChain community. Well, how do I do it? Where do I start?
You go to one sec. I just want to make sure. I always get. I'm a little.
We have comments. Oh my God, Kenton, you did it. We got comments, man. We can post in the comments. Hell yeah.
We got comments, but I can't make you guys co-hosts. So it was a trade-off, I guess.
Who cares? It's good, bro. I'll take it, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
But yeah, Baloney, if someone's listening to the recording, they want to join the THORChain community Discord, how do they do that?
Discord.gg/THORChain community.
Okay, is there anywhere they can go to? Okay, say that again one more time, a bit slower.
It's on our bio. It's in our bio, on our X account, and also if it's in the chats, discord.gg/THORChain community, THORChain community.
Great. And your X handle, your Twitter handle is @THORcommunity.
That is correct.
Yeah. Awesome. Patriot, were you want to say something or asking something? Did I cut you off?
No, I think you're fine. I think we covered it. I'm actually really excited. So now we've talked about the history of, you know, the LPU, which is now THORChain community, and now they're going to be customer service for the interface. Now I think, you know, might be additional time to transition Kenton to talk about, like, you know, this is THORChain community for a reason, right? It's more than just customer service. Like, we actually mobilize the community to do things, right, Baloney Bones? So I know we were talking about doing stuff on Reddit and starting to mobilize the community to help make it where you have AI tooling that helps pick out THORChain and, you know, eventually Rujira too, you know, whatever. Maybe we want to talk about that now. That might be a good segue.
I mean, I'm so stoked you asked that question at the perfect time. Or just prompted it because with I would say, like, the guy that's coming to work with us and help us out is formerly known as Kid Kuji. He started Kujira Academy, and I'm sure everybody knows him. He changed his name to his name. It's Nile. 37 Skid. But the Kid Kuji, probably most people know him as that. He's going to be working with me, and we've worked together and built out many proposals and many content schedule templates and things like that. And this dude is hungry, and he is a kid. And I meet with him regularly, and the kid is young and he is brilliant, and he's got so much to offer. And he's really excited to come on into the THORChain fold and help us out with building out, marketing campaigns and things like that. So, and we're aligning with Nine Realms with on their content schedules that with the marketing fund that just got passed through. We want to line up with you with all of that's going on there. So we're gonna trade notes, share notes, and see what we can do. And I'm stoked about it, man. There's a lot of engagement that is yet to come that is going to be like immediately present, and it's very, very, it's going to be effective. I'll just say that. So quests, campaigns, ways to get the community reactivated and mobilized to do things. And yeah, and again, like as you said, like the front end support is one thing we do. You know, we're kind of a much larger house where we provide like a home for people to build the culture, to interact with one another, to ask questions, to hypothesize things. And we've got all those structures. And even so, I was just talking to the node operators yesterday. Like, they can, and like, we'll put in a link that, like, we already have a link for Runebond, but like, we would love to showcase community dev initiatives like that, so that we can have users who come in there and they don't know what to do, and they can window shop for nodes if they want to bond their rune. So there's, the world is our oyster, and we can make it whatever you want. Like, I love having a purpose for it. So I'm stoked, man. I'm stoked. And again, like, to jump off what I just saw and pop up was like Kid Kuji, dude. This dude, like, he single-handedly started an initiative with the University of Bristol, where he was teaching about freaking DeFi and Rujira to university students, and that was supported by the actual university. So he was meeting with like department heads and things like that. He did like Rujira Africa, where he mobilized entire communities, like hundreds of people in I believe Kenya, and it was super successful. So this guy knows how to activate communities, and he's my guy. And we've worked well together, and we're really stoked to be working together again.
That's awesome. Paige, I'm glad you brought that up about Reddit. I want to bring it back to Reddit. So, like, I've just been doing some basic research, you guys, which you can all easily do on your own too. How to train LLMs, how to train AI, so that, like, give it another 6 months, and probably everyone in the world is going to be going to Chat GPT to ask questions, right? And stop searching in Google type thing. And so, SEO was a thing 20 years ago. If you figured that out, you did well. AIO is the thing today. AI optimization. How do we get our content, our product, into AI results. And these AIs are scrubbing data all over the internet, and apparently the #1 source of info for AI is Reddit. And so, if you're not on Reddit, you're not on an AI search result, basically. And so there's 2 ways we can do it. We can, hire some, firm with like 100 bots to go, post stuff on Reddit, which you all know what that looks like. Or we could have 100 THORChads, total unique, awesome individuals with their own voice, their own ideas, their own thoughts, posting real organic content. And which one's going to be better. So like kind of going back to, if somebody's listening and they're like, they're jacked, they want to help, they want to contribute, start posting stuff on Reddit for us. Not for me or Baloney, but for THORChain, right? This is for the, this is how we make it work. And start playing the game. So the way the game works is, apparently whatever, if you're searching for something on Google, say like, oh, how do I buy Bitcoin without KYC or something? I made that up, but there's a million different, hundreds of different phrases or questions that would pertain, where THORChain is the answer, basically, but the person asking doesn't know THORChain is the answer. And so you go into Reddit and you go and you post that question, you start a thread. Now you know the answer, right? But you're fishing because you want people to come in and have those answers in the threads in Reddit. And then you can go tell everybody else, hey, I posted this question, come and post. And then we can get this army of THORChads, everybody going in and posting and replying to this question. And that is training AI. And it's just simple manpower. Like I don't have the time to do it all by myself. Neither does Baloney and Patriot. But if we have a few hundred THORChads, spending a few minutes a week doing this, everybody is throwing in their own reply or whatever, it really builds on itself. And the sky's the limit. You come up with as many, weird phrases, questions, terms, or whatever you want, and we just pump it into Reddit. And those things are cumulative, right? It's not like we can just do it once, we'll have to keep doing them, for years type thing. But we got to start somewhere. So
I didn't know that there was such a dependency on the LLM training for Reddit.
Apparently, yeah. Yeah, another one of the big ones is YouTube. And so YouTube, Google is the largest search engine in the world. YouTube is second. And I've chatted with the Coke. With the Coke's a great example, guys. Total volunteer, right? Is he here? He's just like, he records these spaces. He posts them. Does a fantastic job. And like my assistant is doing it too for me on my account. And like, copy and paste, guys. Like if you want to post the stuff on YouTube or TikTok, like reach out to me. Like I'll put all this, what my assistant does, we can download into a Google Doc. I'm sure with the Coke will be on board too. And have these videos go on YouTube and have the, we download the SRT file, like the text for captions. But with AI reading voice, like it doesn't get all the words 100% correct, especially words like THORChain or Rune or Rujira, like the weird terms, it always spells them wrong. And so what we need is somebody who can actually proofread these caption files, the SRT files, and make sure the text is all correct. So when we upload it with the video, it's although everything is correct, because these AI LLMs are going and reading the SRT files on YouTube and using that for training. So the more accurate information we're giving AI to read, the more likely we are going to show up in its results. But like, this is all just grunt work. And
Totally.
right. And I'm sure there's always somebody out there who just, like, we all have our weird things that kind of get us off. Like I like getting my hands dirty in the backyard and just doing manual labor, but for me, it just puts my mind at ease. I'm sure there's somebody else who would he just would put his mind at ease to proofread and spell check an SRT file. Like, that's your stick, that's your gimmick, that's how you contribute to THORChain.
Yeah.
And then we have, hundreds of people doing little things like that, and it has such a huge cumulative effort that that our competition is not doing, right?
Yeah.
Or some people are figuring out and they are doing it, and that's why they're succeeding, because their product isn't better, their strategy is, their business plan is better.
Totally.
They're playing the game, and we have a great product, and we play the game. We can't lose.
Yeah. And wait, like I know that I am not one of these people that I'm not a Reddit guy. I like missed. I was sick the day that Reddit became the thing to do. I guess. But like I know that I have friends that are. That's what their source is. That's where their socials home is. And I didn't know that that was a thing. And but like whomever is in the THORChain community where that applies to you, like talk to us, like because that's we need those people. And I don't know who, like there are dedicated Reddit users, and we want as many as possible. If you're a dedicated Reddit user and a dedicated THORChain user, then we want to talk to you
So
for sure.
yeah, I put it in the comments. I also put it on top of the space, guys. So I'm new to Reddit too, Baloney Bones, 100%. I'm completely new. I've never done anything with Reddit up until recently. So people listening to this, you want to create a Reddit account, please do it. Remember, even if you don't like Reddit, I don't particularly fond of it either. We got to do what we got to do, right? Let's play the game. And it's really good because every time you respond, to Kenton's point, you are going to be shaping the impressions of third-party sources like AI tooling to help make THORChain more visible, right? So important thing to remember, and I had to learn this too, is when you make a Reddit, you will be potentially labeled as a bot via the Reddit, algorithm. So make some comments and posts inside the THORChain Reddit. Just whatever. I don't even care if it can be all noise. It doesn't matter. Just get some posts down because you have to build something called your karma score. Your karma score. Okay. And then once your karma score gets to a certain threshold, then you can start posting in other regions of Reddit, because then Reddit at that point says, okay, this isn't a bot. You're not a risk. I'm going to share I got to find it. I'm going to share the Rujira one too. So I'm going to step away for a second, but very important, guys. You're going to have to do just a little bit of grunt work in order to get to the point where you can start posting, but please do this. I'm going to be doing it. And many others are going to do it. I already have a select group of like 4 people who are super interested. I want, to Kenton's point, I want 100 to 200, 300 people doing this. And like he said, this is not very committal. You just pop in for a few minutes a day or every other day and just start making some posts and making clarifications on other things. And we can really do this, guys. We can capture the heart of the AI and make it where people now know that THORChain is the solution to their problem. So let's do it.
And absolutely. And doesn't have to stop with Reddit. Like maybe some people here, they're into TikTok too. Like create some TikTok videos. If you're on Instagram, put stuff there. And maybe like creating content is hard. I get it. Like trying to come up with ideas. Copy and paste, like the content from the THORChain account. Copy and paste content from the Thor community account. Like just straight up plagiarize it. Like no one's don't even, as far as I'm concerned, don't even credit anyone. Just post it. Just get it out there. It's all propaganda, right? We just want to get the message out there. So don't be shy about just spreading the word. Just get the word spread. And yeah.
I'll say one thing is Roderick's Digital. He reached out to me, I don't know how many years ago, but he does the translations for the Spanish readers for what we put out for content. So like that kind of shit. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And for what it's worth, guys, so maybe we should start segueing to 80 or 21. So like, one of the things I want to do is like actual like press releases, like paying to get articles out there, where it's you're spread out, and I get it. A lot of these platforms, nobody really reads them. I understand it, you guys. But what matters is for SEO and training AI, because if we have this content spread out all over the internet, especially on websites that have higher, what do you call it, like a higher score, like higher ranking, domain authority, I think it's called. You know, you're basically paying to get your content on these higher domain authority websites, which means your AI reads it as more credible. Like, you know, and so, but you got to pay. You still have to pay to get your content there. And so there's a couple of things I want to do is, again, you know, do we hire a marketer who doesn't understand THORChain to like write an article about it? Or do we utilize our own community who knows everything about THORChain? And, you know, someone like Fearless Norwegicus, like the guy's got banger threads. Let's just, you know, copy and paste it into an article. You know, he's already wrote out the thread. I can just ask him. I haven't asked him yet. I'm going to. I don't know if you're listening to Fearless, but I didn't mean to ask you. And we can just put it into like an article format, and then we can start publishing and paying to have them distributed and have them converted into other languages. You know, Russian, Mandarin, Korean, Spanish, right? So that, you know, we're hitting all these boxes, like, and we're just you know, basically the point of the marketing, spending money on is amplifying what already exists in THORChain, amplifying that message, getting it out to a broader audience, you know, in the hopes that, you know, new people start seeing it instead of us in our echo chamber, right? But anyway, so back, you know, we don't necessarily have to hire anybody to, you know, write new content. We have content creators, you know, the new TC intern on the THORChain main account. Everyone
Yeah,
loves his
man.
threads, right?
We've got plenty, and like the thing, the wild, and this dude is so self-starting that like he'll have a, you know, as things come out, it's always there's things change and evolve, but like the dude has fully written at the beginning of each month, he has fully written threads for each freaking, like, you know, time of deployment and how many posts they are each and where they're going to be retweeted from and all of this stuff. So yeah, like, and again, we've got a massive archive of material, and we love writing. Like, we're a bunch of teachers and writers, so yeah, dude. We've got your back. If like, I would say definitely tap us for that kind of thing. Like, I do a lot of work with Voltisig for that particular end, and yeah, it's just I'm a writer at heart, so I'm more than happy to do it. Again, another thing that other people are really there's good, some things I'm really good at. I'm good at long form, but like the threads and the posts, and there are other people who are much better at that because I'm a little long-winded sometimes. So we've got people on a team who are better at that than I am. So everyone using their skill set, man. Everyone's got a
Exactly.
gift to bring.
Exactly. And even the threads on Twitter, you know, we can start paying on Twitter to have them promoted, right? Spread them around Twitter, right? Like, so that's why I'm convinced is just give it some time. It's going to start sinking in. It's going to start working. But the big one is be training LLM, you know, and we just basically need to pay to do it. So you know, my hope or my expectation is that we've got like even these things going out weekly. You know, we're just constantly pumping out content, and that's the kind of marketing is hard to measure, right? Like that's like a cumulative effect thing. You know, we're gonna have to do it for months and years type thing, but it will work, and that's actually, you know, this is what another reason why I think this is going to work is because you know, THORChain's one of its main competitive advantages is its revenue. You know, we like how many crypto protocols actually don't make any money, or very little, and they're just constantly selling tokens. You know, like selling tokens on themselves to stay alive. You know, THORChain has real revenue, real money that isn't. It's not dilution, and you know, if we get this engine going and we get this virtuous, you know, marketing black hole going, it's very sustainable. And that's how we edge out our competition because they can't compete. You know, if the marketing fund gets to the point where it's making $1 million a month and like, you know, we just can't spend enough to get our propaganda out there, how is our competition going to compete? How will anybody be able to compete with us when we're flooding the entire internet with our own propaganda? Like they won't be able to. So, you know, it'll be a good problem to have, right? Then what else do we do with the money? But we just keep going, you know, we think bigger, you know, and so yeah, I'm excited for this part of it. I think yeah, go ahead.
Remind me to put you and me and Ronan together, so that we can coordinate our efforts. Because I reached out to her yesterday and a couple days ago, submitted what we have that we're bringing to the table, and so that we don't step on toes, that we kind of like exponentially amplify rather than speak over one another. That would be a far more effective route to go, where we are on the same page, because the THORChain community account, we have a lot of marketing coming, and this was just what we're doing, you know, whether or not there was a marketing ADR anyway. So yeah, well, I would like for us to coordinate, because we've got some power hitting proven methods that work, and we can align and harmonize and kind of like, yeah, just resound where we're all concordant notes hitting, and we're reaching farther reaches. So yeah, let's get a we'll get to you with our content schedule and our marketing schedule coming out, and I'm stoked that we can coordinate our efforts and kind of like, I don't know, go way farther with it than we would have if we were each individual islands.
Yeah, for sure. I've already, the Rujira guys, Erudite? Erudite?
Erudite, yeah.
Erudite?
Yep.
Yeah, he's reached out to me saying, you know, let's between him and Felix of Altisig, he's like, you know, let's get on the same page with marketing, and
Hell
you
yeah,
know, maybe
man.
we can you know, work together instead of on top of each other type thing.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how it works with
I worked
like,
with him a lot. Yeah, great guy. Yeah.
and like, you know, with these you know, these paid distribution channels, like, you know, paying for press releases and articles and stuff, like I'm pretty sure you can buy articles in bulk, and like, I don't know if we like all pool our money and then we get better pricing power, you know, and then this, you know, then the unit cost of each one gets lower, then we can basically, you know, share it between us. I don't know, we'll have to figure that out. But absolutely, man, like, let's, you know, if we work together, we can pool resources, you know, not just intellectual resources, but fiscal money resources too.
This is perfect. This is exactly what I had in mind, is, you know, obviously collabing with, you know, Baloney Bones and Kenton or myself, but that's like my grand vision for ADR 21. Like, if you just look at ADR 21 and you read it and you think, okay, $250,000 used for marketing, like, that is the most superficial way to think about it. When I look at ADR 21, I think about myself and what I can do. And I want everyone listening to this live or the recording, you know, what can you do? And like we said, get on Reddit, go on YouTube. If you got a TikTok, produce content. Like, ADR 21 is all of us. Yes, Kenton THORChain wrote it. Yes, they have money allocated. Yes, they're going to market, but there's absolutely no reason why we can't help them. And in fact, if we don't help them, we're only kicking ourselves in our own balls. Like, this is all of us. Everyone will benefit if we help with ADR 21. So ADR 21 is not Baloney, it's not Kenton, it's not THORChain community, it's not me, it's all of us. All of us. So guys, really get motivated, start thinking, make a Reddit account, get on YouTube, look up, just start posting things. Use good grammar, of course, but start going, guys. And we're gonna win. Like, it's just it's in our court. Like, the most powerful thing about THORChain, Rujira, and whatever, it's the community. Like, you can fork the code, you can't fork the community. It's us. We can do this. So let's do it.
That's the thing about like the marketing. It's like the content will be delivered regardless, but the thing about what the marketing fund can do is that all of the efforts that are being done, that marketing fund can amplify that, so they can put money towards getting it on more eyes. It's not about, like, the marketing fund is, sure, like, if nobody did anything, I'm sure that they would develop the content themselves, but they don't have to do that if we are having all of this other content coming from multiple angles. They're essentially, the funding is for basically taking what we already do and putting it out farther. Like, they're paying for promotion and boosting. So, like, the content's already there if we build it, so get cooking, everybody.
That,
And we're
that
gonna be cooking. We've already got schedules coming out. Yeah.
that's exactly it. And like, if anybody, we're in the attention economy, right? And so some people are like, well, yeah, I'll create content, but I want credit for it, right? I want to build my followers, build my brand. Great. If you're posting great content for THORChain and contributing, and it's good and makes sense, and we pay to distribute it, and you're the author, you get credited with the work, then that helps build your brand, your audience, right? So
I'm so glad you. Oh, sorry.
good.
Well, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I just want to be absolutely clear. If I ever happen to say something halfway clever up here, I want everyone to understand you can use any content I make, any voice recording that I make. Of course, keep the context what I'm talking about, but please feel free to use it, disseminate it. You do not have to credit me as a source. I do not care. So I just want that to be said. Anything I ever do or say, as Kenton says, you have my permission to plagiarize it if I happen to say something that you think other people should hear or see. So please go for it.
Yeah, copy left, guys. Crazy where open source code and people worried about copyright. Like, that's copy left. I want to tell you guys a little story. So I'm talking to a marketing guy yesterday, and now that ADR 21's approved, like, I'm starting to look to hire people, right? Talking to this marketing guy, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, well, just explain THORChain a bit to me." So I told him, it's a decentralized exchange, no KYC, you can have Bitcoin self-custody. Kind of walked him through it. He's not a normie, but he has an account at Gemini. I kind of had to explain Uniswap a bit to him, but he did understand it. But I walked him through THORChain within, like, a few minutes, and he's like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is pretty cool." And he's like, Gemini is just so frustrating. I can't do this or that. And he's like, "The THORChain sounds like kind of what I want." I'm like, "It is what you want." And I'm like, "This is exactly what we need. We just need to get this message out to the rest of the world, and people are going to get it." Like, how many of you get, once you actually understood THORChain, you're like, it just clicks. There's no going back. It's like opening the curtain from the Wizard of Oz. Like, there's no closing the curtain, pretending what's there, right? Like, you can't unsee what you've seen. So,
Dude, every time I
Flip it.
go home, I pass by that bar, and like that bar where I was red pilled by my brother, like, that's what I think of every time I go, and I'm like, dude, that's where I learned about THORChain, and I've never gone back. You can't go back. Like, that place to me is where I learned the truth. So yeah, and it's not a cult, man. It's like, it's better financial solvency. That's what it is. So I feel you, where it's, once it clicks, then your life has changed. It's inspiring.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, Kenton, story time with Kenton, everybody. We got to make this a recurring thing. It was at 1 hour and about 32 minutes. He started his little story. Clip it, and put that shit online. That was a dope ass story. It's like when you meet someone who knows something like Gemini or whatever, a random story, he tells about THORChain. Oh, hell, that's actually pretty damn cool. The proof is in the pudding, guys. We literally just have to tell people what the fuck we built over here, because what the fuck we built is pretty fucking awesome. Like, this shit is so awesome what we've done. We gotta tell the world. And the only way you can do it is you gotta get out there. And any single person who's hearing this, you can do that. You can do that. No KYC, permissionless, cross-chain liquidity access to various layer ones. It works great. It's decentralized, and you can earn money on it by bonding your room. There's a huge story to tell. We got to tell the story, guys. Great story, Kenton. Story time with Kenton. Everyone grab some cocoa, put on your PJs. I think this might have to be a recurring thing, brother.
Yeah, for sure. I'm tapped out for some stories though. Well, I do have two different stories, but it's like only if we have nothing else to talk about, I can bring them up. But
hey, if we can clip it, buddy, let's have the second story.
well, I don't know if it's a clip, but well, I guess it was two.
You said, well, okay, twist my arm.
Well, all right, fine. Like we talk about these go on for hours, right? Why not? Let's talk about everything. What do you guys have for breakfast today? Okay, so there's just to kind of motivate people, get people going. So one is, so I used to host an ugly Christmas sweater party at my place in San Diego, and the way it started. One year, my roommate was like, "Oh, we should have a ugly Christmas sweater party." And I was kind of like, I was like, at the time, I was relatively new to the area. I didn't have many friends, and I'm like, I don't know if I get enough people here for a party. Being a bit of a Debbie Downer, and like, I don't know if anyone will come. And she's like, "Oh, you invite your friends, I'll invite mine. It'll be fun. It doesn't have to be anything crazy." I'm like, "All right, sure." So we start planning, start inviting people, and then this chick pulls out. She's like, "Yeah, I don't want to do it anymore." I'm like, "What are you talking about? You're my freaking roommate. How could you we're having a party together. Like, how could you not have one with me?" And like, "This is your idea." And she's like, "Yeah, she didn't want to do it." And I can't explain to you guys. Anyway, but I already started inviting everybody, telling my friends. And I'm like, well, F her, I'm going to double down. Right. So I kept, promoting to my friends, and, people came. It was nice. It was fun. It was maybe, I don't know, 15 or 20 people came. We had a good time. People wore sweaters. And then I did it again next year. And I had like, I don't know, 8 people showed up. And I was like, and it was a really, when you have different friend groups, like people don't really know each other, and they're, don't have a history, so it's a bit awkward, whatever. And so it's kind of like that. I'm like, oh man, this party sucks. And but I'm like, I was bound and determined to keep it. I wanted to make a tradition, because in that the first time I had it to help promote it, get it going, I created like an ugly Christmas sweater trophy, to award the person with the ugliest sweater, and then I put the person's name on it and have like the Stanley Cup, and every year whoever win would get their name engraved on it forever. And so I kept this party going, and it kept getting, after that bad year, I doubled down. Part of the reason it was bad is because I didn't do a good job promoting it. I told people like once, that was kind of it. And then I'm like, I want to keep this going. It was really honestly, kind of out of spite to my roommate. Like, I'm going to make this a real thing. And the next year got better, year after that better. And it got to the point where, like, throughout the year, people were asking me, "Kenton, can I come to your party?" And I'm to your ugly Christmas sweater party. I'm like, of course you can. Like, people are asking me for invites because it's getting so much notoriety because I put effort into it. And like, and these are my friends, people like me, like hang out with me. But for a month before, I had to promote it. I had to get out there, text people, have a Facebook group, showcase the trophy. Hey, this is what you can win. Me as the host, and when I run a party, I'm the most drunk guy at my own party. Like, I set the tone, you get it going. I would dress head to toe in an elf outfit. It wasn't just an ugly sweater. It was like the whole thing. And but these are my own friends, right? And I really had to promote and push and build into what it was. And it got to the point where the party was huge. I had to, like, people to show up, I'd have to kick them out. People I didn't like, or was like so about. Sorry, like, I literally had to kick people out. And I got my neighbor one year. He was coming around, snooping around, drunk, and I'm like, he's just annoying. And I mean, we were all drunk. Don't get me wrong, but like, he's, and you can like smell alcohol in someone, like alcoholic drunk. It's just like you. And but I built this thing just out of determination and promoting. And so the reason I'm bringing this up is because we're, THORChain's in a funk right now too, and just with sheer determination and promotion, we can turn it around. And you just got to commit to it, and it'll work. It'll go. So that's kind of why I'm in beast mode right now, is because like, the party sucks, and like, doesn't mean it's over. Like, just keep going, guys. We can make this awesome. It is awesome. It will get better.
That is a great story. I have a little story of my own. It is much shorter. We were just having a regular party. I don't remember. I think it was like my early 20s. And we invited, I thought people were going to, like 15 people were going to come over. I had a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, not a big place, you guys. So about 15 people. And so I said, okay, well, I like to be a good host. And so I'm pretty good making like platters and charcuterie boards, all this whatever. So I told people I was making. I said I'm gonna have like fruit, meats, all kinds of food, and I'm gonna have a chocolate fountain. A chocolate fountain. Okay, a pretty cool chocolate fountain, gotta say. A little did I know that chocolate fountain thing really spread around town. It's a small town, you guys, so chocolate fountain's a big deal. You know what I mean? This small town. And I had 78 people in my 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I don't know who the fuck they were. They all came for the chocolate fountain, and people were surrounding chocolate fountain. They're dipping their fruit in there and things like that. And and that just speaks like you never know really what's going to take off. I mean, maybe chocolate fountain's kind of too cool not to know that, but I really think, Kenton, it's just a marketing, it's just determination. We're going to figure out what clicks, and we're going to get a huge influx of new THORChads, new people, and we're going to get them into things. So guys, I just want everyone to be so excited. You never know. Just do something and you might strike gold. You really might.
I think it's going to be the front end, guys. I think it's that.
Yes, I think so too.
I think that Thor, and I've said this. There's a collective amnesia when things are like bad. Yeah, everyone piles in. But all it takes is one turnaround in an upward moving market. All it takes is one good thing that people can jump around and like experience the hype with. And I think the front end is going to be that one source. And I've been saying this, and I think that it can be what we make of it. And I think that we should maybe start focusing on that being the thing, like that, and just like guerrilla marketing, dude. And like that's what we've been doing. And now that we actually have a dedicated attendance to it and kind of focus and actual funding to do so, yeah, I'm excited. I think that the THORChain is what will bring it back to a positive mindset, because for people who came into THORChain 2023, 2024, like guys, it didn't always used to be like this. It used to, like, we are a community who has experienced a lot of really, really positive events, and I'm looking forward to showing the newcomers who kind of only experienced like disgruntled community members and all this like I don't know, just not positive culture. I'm looking forward to the moment where things turn the corner and we see the front end is right around the corner, and we see a positive thing to gather around. And I'm stoked that we're close, and I think that the bad days are almost behind us. That's how I'm feeling. That's how I felt for a while.
100%, 100%. And you guys will see people out there who are just like they're still stuck in the mud. They're real negative. Just don't give those guys any attention. Like misery loves company, you guys. You can't you do your best. It's how you respond to things. To Kenton's point earlier, and to Baloney Bones' points, like how you respond to problems is determines like if you're going to be a successful person or not. Like shit happens, Dust ourselves off. This is a new positive chapter. Let's go.
And well, another thing I'll say is like there are always, no matter the time or the place, there are always going to be people who enjoy shitting on THORChain, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's invigorating. There, it seems that there are like hired goons try to make a bad name for it. And the baseline tech works, and I believe that there have been in the past like funded campaigns to bring a bad name to THORChain, and like granted, we don't need that. We didn't need that earlier this year. We did it ourselves, but so I would say even for the amount of impressions, like if you respond and engage with that, it gets more impressions. So you're shooting yourself in the foot by trying to teach someone that, and I learned that I used to engage a lot more than I do now. And then I realized we're giving, this is free advertisement for this bad, negative framing. So focus on positives, man. Engage with positive content, and that will get more impressions. The good things will be seen more easily if you're engaging with the positive content. And I'm not saying do it, but engage with content that isn't true. I'm not saying say things that are false. We don't need to say things that are false. THORChain, the baseline design works. It is a sustainable architecture. So it's really nice. And it's like, I used to work at a fine dining restaurant and say and they're like, wow, the food's great. I'm like, dude, I don't even need to do anything. The food sells itself. And that's the THORChain. The food sells itself. So yeah, I would say to reiterate that statement, don't even engage with the people who are shitting on stuff. There's always going to be negative Nancy's. Focus on good things. And this goes for all life too. So
100%, man. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And Kenton got rugged. So the space might end abruptly. Let's hope not, but I'll keep going with you, Baloney. Like, oh, what was I saying? Shit, man, Kenton got rugged. And we're talking about negative people, interacting with them. If you're stuck in a position where if someone comes up, someone comes up on this stage and they talk about oh, this happened on THORChain, it's bad, and you cannot get away from interacting with it, just be honest, you guys. Just say yeah, we made a mistake there, or that happens. You just own it. You know what I mean? If you agree with someone who has a negative mindset about THORChain, that's very disarming for them, and it reeks of not reeks. It's truthful, right? And say that was a mistake. We are the first ones to attempt cross-chain liquidity attempts. Real layer one swaps. We were the first ones to attempt that. It was very hard, and we made some mistakes along the way. What else do you got? What else are you gonna say? Is that all you got? Is that the hang up in your heart? Is that we made mistakes? We told you from the very beginning of Chaos Net days, this is going to be a bumpy ride. This ship is going to be rocking left or right, So if you want on a board, just know what you're getting yourself into. Well, I think those days are behind us, to Baloney Bones' point, right? We've turned a corner. THORChain works very, very good. We have a whole nother app layer. We have a whole wonderful community of very intelligent people that share our ethos. Kenton, I think you're there, brother. You want to check your mic?
Mic check. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, buddy. Yeah,
good
wow.
Job.
Good recovery.
I don't know what. I thought it was rugged. I started a new space, and then THORChain. Awesome. Yeah, THORChain came and told me, no, dude, it's still going. You're still there. I'm like, holy smokes. So sorry. Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, you're good, brother. Well, we were just talking. Baloney Bones was basically saying, if you interact with negative people online, you actually boost their content. So don't boost with them. And I said,
yes,
misery loves company, right? You cannot change the emotional, mental state of someone. And what I was just saying, if someone comes up and you are confronted with negative stuff, just own it. It's yeah, we messed up. I mean, mistakes happen. We move on. We learn and we grow. And that's why, guys, don't get too caught up when you get people who always shit on the Rude price or the Ruji price, or tell Rujirans, get away from THORChain. They're blah, blah, all this negative stuff, guys. Don't worry about that stuff. We're going to get lots of new blood. Okay. And I'm not saying we kick away people. Everyone's invited to come back, but don't get so focused on, because, their impression is the extreme minority at this point. But the angriest, most emotional, they're always the loudest in the room. Don't worry about it. We got it, you guys. Keep going.
There's some, there's some mental health issues there. If you're doesn't matter what token it is, but if you keep hating on it and shitting on it for years, like what's like, sell and leave, go get on with your life. Like what's like, so anyway, I've got, for what it's worth, guys, I just mute people after a while. Like if I'm like, okay, this person's just deranged, I mute them. And then apparently it's better than blocking, so they can see that you blocked them, and then that just enrages them more. But if you mute them, they can't tell that you muted them. And then I have my own personal rule of thumb is just don't engage with trolls, because it's impossible to win. Like they don't, like, you're playing two different games. And then the third one is, if you are getting trolled, that means you're winning. That means you're right. That, it's like, then you're onto something. So stick with it. Stick with whatever you're doing. Because the trolls are, trying to bring you down because you're up, right? You're lifting yourself up. Don't let them bring you back down. Yeah, those are my three tips for you there.
Well said, sir. Well said.
Yeah.
Wow. Go ahead, Kenton. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I just wanted to bring it back to our two little stories there, because I forgot to kind of highlight the point of my story. Like your story is great, Patriot, because like you don't know what's going to take off, right? What people are going to connect with and gravitate towards, right? You just got to try some things. And then the point of my story was, my parties, they were only as good as my promoting them. Like, even though these are my friends, people that like me and want to hang out with me, I still have to sell the party to them. I still have to promote it. I still have to communicate it. And it's not just once, I have to, I do it all throughout the whole year, and leading, in the weeks leading up, reminding people, right? And so it's the exact same. Now imagine getting a stranger to try and come to your party or to your business. It requires lots of communication, and it's constant communication. And like, there's a saying with marketing that somebody has to hear the same message 5 times before it starts to click, before they start to get it. Like, telling people once isn't enough. When you tell people multiple times the exact same thing, and it'd be really repetitive. This is how Bitcoin, part of how it succeeded, is that, how many narratives there have you heard? How many sayings have you heard for the last 10 years, right? And it's starting to break its way into pop culture even. So we just have to have that same consistent message and just repeat it, and amplify it and get it out there. And even with our own audience, even people that might be, THORChans from the past who have left or like disenfranchised or whatever, they very well can come back. How many, look at sports teams, they go into a rut and they lose for a while, they lose a bunch of their fans. Once they start winning again, all of a sudden, oh, there's all these new people. Oh, I've been a fan my whole life. I'm like, oh yeah, where were you the last few years, right? But it doesn't matter. Their the fan base grows when the team is winning. And same thing will happen with THORChain. Fan base will come back and people say they've been here this whole time, right? Whether it's true or not doesn't matter. What matters is they're back. And we just have to be consistent with the message and keep it out there and keep going.
So one thing I want to say about to that effect was in the THORChain, when I was reshaping the role system in the TCC Discord, there's an OG tag now, and I went in manually by hand and looked at it when everybody joined, and so everyone who joined in the first year of there gets an OG tag. So there is I wanted to make sure that people were recognized for their consistency. So I there are a lot of people who have been here a while who are just kind of lurking, and whether it's a lot of people are along for the ride and just kind of they leave it up to us, and that's our what we do, and we're inspired to do it. But yeah, man, I would say that our community, like for the ecosystem that we are, it's special, and it's strong to the point where, like, the people who left, quote unquote left, and aren't as engaged as they were before, and these were more active accounts. That's it's like it all. I just like it's still in their hearts, you know.
Yeah.
And, like THORChain is meaningful to the point that like people. I don't know. It changes you, and I believe that there are a lot of really strong personalities and characters in our space that I don't know. I was injected directly into this ecosystem. My first understanding of anything crypto wise was THORChain. And so like I had direct right to the veins of decentralized native swapping. So I got really I was fortunate. And I just think that like with the power, like the characters who are in our space are knowledgeable, they are intelligent, they are for the most part empathetic and patient, and we've got what we need, dude. And I'm like that's one thing that consistently provides me motivation, is that we've got a lot of smart people and a lot of people who are motivated to continue pushing the initiative forward, you know.
And just and to maybe just to help people, maybe someone's listening who isn't quite sure, like, why are you guys so crazy? Like, why are you guys so passionate? Why are you so into this? Like, I don't get it. What we all see, what we get is the same thing that Bitcoiners see in Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin is this decentralized money that can totally make, you know, banking, central banks, you know, obsolete type deal, right? And a very powerful technology. Basically, they can't be censored. And you know, that's what we all see with THORChain. THORChain is a real decentralized exchange, and that can't be I would say at this point it can't be censored. You know, if it would have been, it would have had been. You know, with the whole Bybit thing in February, I think that was the ultimate stress test, and we passed. And there is nothing like THORChain out there. This is the most real decentralized exchange in the world, and this is why we're also gung ho about it and passionate about it, because this is it. You know, it's like there's, you know, like there is no, you know, like with Bitcoin, there is no second best. But with THORChain, there is no second best. You know, this is it. And that's what we all see. That's what we all get. And it's that, I think that's maybe the hardest part for some people, is just really wrapping their head around decentralization and why that's so important and so valuable. Um, but it's really the same thing that makes Bitcoin valuable. That's the same thing that makes THORChain valuable. It's decentralized. So yeah, and Baloney, do you agree with me or disagree? What do you think is what keeps everyone engaged and so passionate about this?
I agree, man. I think that like the baseline architecture of THORChain is unprecedented, and still 5 years, 6 years after you know, that first block, uh there's still nothing. There's still nothing that was able to do it. And what like there's and the fact that like the developers, the core team, like the only reason that anyone ever left was for like personal matters, and now they're back. So like it wasn't a like the people who've been here for 5 6 years, 7 years for the beginnings of THORChain, they're still right here, you know. And because there is this this vision where it's like it is built, it is already here, and it is a matter of just getting the. And that's why, and I totally understood like for so many years why the integrations were the priority of getting THORChain liquidity to in as many different front ends as possible, and becoming the back end support for it. So I don't know, I just like I have been in support of so many like ideas of getting the liquidity mode to deepen, and I am just, and also like again, it comes back to like the fact that the Treasury has supported education and just like integrity for all of these years. Like that's another push. Um, and the fact that like core community members have stayed, and there's just so many signs for me to see that we've got something special going on. And I am really, really happy to be a part of it. I'm stoked. And like, I see, like, I've always seen it since that day sitting at the bar. I can see the THORChain success. And like, again, there's growing pains, man. This is a beta technology space, and this is all a sandbox. And THORChain has sandboxed itself. In experimenting is not a mistake. The way that this space works is that you have to try things. There's no, you can't do it in a back room. It's all open source. It's all right, public and visible. And the some things aren't going to work. We know what doesn't work, and so we are moving in a direction of things that do work. And like, I don't know, man. It's like a fountain that doesn't. It's like a chocolate fountain that doesn't ever stop giving chocolate. That's how I feel.
The Patriot Sounds chocolate fountain.
Yeah.
We got to make a. That's okay. Okay, we got to do this, guys. So the first time we do like a THORChain side event or conference or whatever,
Chocolate fountain.
we have to have a chocolate fountain. There you go. It's done. Mental note.
And a lot more people have to show up. And then, like in my house, I had these two girls on my bed, not in a good way. Because they were crying because one broke up with a boyfriend live at my party, another one was consoling him. I'm just like, get the fuck out of my bedroom, you fucking retard. You know what I mean? But
leave it to a crypto guy to kick women out of his bedroom.
Dude,
really smart.
Dude, they didn't even know anything about THORChain. Fucking loser broads. Get the
Well,
fuck out of my room.
you should have unrolled your easel and PowerPoint time.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, I should have read your poetry to them. That would have calmed them down.
A little clicker. Well, let me introduce you to decentralized finance.
This is NGMI, bitches. Get the hell out of my bedroom.
Oh man.
I don't stick.
Well, that's okay. Side events. I'm glad I thought of that. Like, this is another thing, guys. Like that we can do, right? We can have side events and do stuff at conferences, and get people to bring new eyes and to THORChain, and it's not like that stuff works. So like, there's a thing with psychology. Like I forget what the term is, but it's something like gifting. Like I'm trying to take an example. They do this all the time, if people asking for money on the street type thing, like the Red Cross or whatever. Like they might give you a cookie or something or a pin, and it's like a reciprocity thing that's like deep in our lizard brains. That when another human gives something to you, it's just like in our nature. It's in your nature to want to give back.
It's Marcel Mauss's The Gift. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like for example. If somebody buys you dinner, well, now you feel obligated to buy them dinner back. And this goes deep. If you guys have read the book, Debt, The Last 5,000 Years, it's fantastic. Excellent review of the history of money. But basically the way human society, human tribes, the way we started like growing and living together, and what binded us was having micro debts. And that, we'll have you build your house and then you help me build my house, and we're constantly have these like little micro debts that we owe to each other. And that's what bound us together as humans, is that we felt obligated to pay them off. And you can imagine a society where if we weren't paying off those micro debts and we're all like kind of running away from each other, we wouldn't have survived as a species, because we'd all be isolated and getting eaten by tigers. It's because we were able to create these communities and stick together and have strength in numbers. And what bound us as a community were these micro debts. And so this is deep in our brains. And this is why, like marketers understand this. This is why they have side events and they spend all this money in pampering people, because it works. And they start to see that and feel like, well, okay, I want to pay back. I want to contribute back. I got drunk for free. I'm identifying with this, right? I'm going to invest in your product too. So, there's method to the madness with a lot of these marketing gimmicks that taps into people's lizard brains, and we can do that. We're all smart enough to figure this out, and we can do it.
Dude, this is something XRP community does all the time. They constantly have meetups. They constantly see each other in real life. They have all these side events. They do charity. They sell products. They get together. They collaborate. You're totally right, Kenton. We absolutely need to do. There's a whole other angle that we can pursue. I think they're great. I mean, like when there was a natural disaster in America, they had some really bad flooding in the southeast and other places. You know, this is not, I don't think we can do this on THORChain, but they crafted an NFT to sell, and they use those funds to send it to the people who are affected. I mean, that's just great stuff that, you know, they just do on their own. Like the, you know, XRP core devs, the Ripple company that owns, like, they have nothing to do with that. That's just normal engagement by the regular community, and that's why they're #3 market cap. The community matters. It's super powerful. It's lizard brain stuff, but it really, really works, and they understand that. And I think it's our time. We need to do some more things. 100%.
I just noticed the other day that there's is it called Einherjar? I don't know how to pronounce it, but the Guardians of Asgard NFT collection.
Yes. Yep.
He sent me the phonetic way to spell it. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I like what I'm seeing. I'm ready for another you know, THORChain looking NFT, and it looks nice. I'm in support of whatever account is doing that. And yeah, I'm stoked about it. And also, hello, THORChain. I see you in the audience now.
Einherjar.
That's what
Einherjar.
that was one of the things about the beginning of THORChain when I was like reading the white paper and all this, and that I don't know if you guys remember the Yggdrasil vaults, and they got rid of them.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of shit that's hard to say. Yeah, we'll have to make sure that phonetic pronunciation is easily accessible, because I'm probably going to continue to say it the way that my brain says it.
Oh, we're gonna have
those guys on September 13th.
Oh hell yeah!
They're gonna come up on this way. Yeah.
Kenton, if you want to practice saying that word, go for it, brother.
Well, I probably still got it wrong, but we'll get them to tell us live. Okay, we've been chatting here quite a bit, guys. I just brought up CK Card. Can't see your full name. CKCardano. You want to join us? You got something to say? Something to add? Question?
What's up, Ken? Thank you so much for having me up, bro. And shout out to the THORChain community. I'm hearing so much good stuff here, guys. This is exactly the recipe that leads to freedom. And ultimately, that is the recipe to cook, right? Because there are it's like a good artist, a good poet, a good musician, a good singer, a good actor. When things are resonant with us, it is resonant because it is in a fundamental way that touches us in our humanity, the way that we all wake up in this instance of humanity. We all wake up owing a death. We all wake up with fears and dreams, and many of us wake up with wives and husbands and babies, and we kiss these children, and we go off to work, and we sacrifice, we give these finite life hours to wrest from the global economy, right? Some units that we hope will hold that time so that we can afford the roof and the good and the plenty for our families. And what's wild is our current money in the fiat regime is like sand running through our fingers, and we can't keep it. It's like trying to capture the water running through a river. And then Bitcoin. For the first time, all of humanity with an internet connection was given access to the first time to a universal state of economic fair play for everyone. And so what THORChain is, and why this is a conversation and a hope that springs eternal, that touches every single asset that you believe in. Now, we can have robust academic conversations about why certain technology stacks and why certain economic tokenomics policies and whatnot are very likely to thrive and why others won't. For instance, there is a blockchain that is 400 terabytes to hold its whole history. It's only been up for a few years, less than half the time that Bitcoin has been. And Bitcoin, though, less than 1 terabyte. Looked at it yesterday. It's a little over a point, or under rather, 0.7 terabytes. So it's like 700 gigabytes for those that don't want to do the conversion. You can hold all of the history of everything that has ever happened on Bitcoin in less than a terabyte. Same thing can be said for Litecoin. Way less, actually. Litecoin is spooky lightweight on its blockchain size. Cardano, also less than a terabyte. What I've just told you is there are 3 assets, one with 21 million units, one with 84 million units, and one with 45 billion units. Guess what else? The first one specializes in saving. The second one specializes in spending with built-in privacy at the L1. Shout out to MWeb. And the third one is smart contract expressiveness built on UTXO technology, which means that it speaks to Bitcoin and math. So why is Larry Fink and the Trillions going to commit money to Cardano versus Ethereum? Well, Larry, 2 + 2 = 4. If you're with me here and you don't want to have your bridges and your bullshit hacks, that's why Cardano is going to win. So now that's a reality. This is not a debate. This is an information asymmetry. There's a reason why Tom Lee is getting loud right now about everyone buy Ethereum. You know why, guys? Because before the end of September or thereabouts, we're going to have the Clarity Act passed. Now the suits are pushing it forward, saying maybe it's October because your boy's getting loud. Because maybe your boy knows a thing or two. And it's anyway. Point is, the Pelosi's and the Martha Stewart see, oh, there's something lining up here. The suits. Why is Nancy Pelosi successful? Because she's banking on the Clarity Act. Now, maybe they're going to fail at the first vote. Now, we all know it'll pass, but we've seen this before with tariffs and shit. How do you milk the community? How do you make the same 10% twice? You say, hey, we've got a vote on the 15th. You watch the charts run up, and then you short it at the top because it's your vote. You know it's going to fail. So you make the money on the way up, you short at the top, make it on the way down. You make a midnight announcement saying, oh, guys, sorry, but we were close. There was 49.51. And then next week, Nancy and the folks get the passage of the Clarity Act. So I'm just saying, when September hits and they're back from the recess that is fucking ridiculous, because for the folks that know, that recess was when folks had to get on horses and shit and ride back to fucking Kentucky or whatever to talk to local white landowning men about how they're going to run the country, and then through the storms and whatever back. So it's absurd that we have these 70-year-olds, quote unquote, representing. You know what I'm saying? So anyway,
Cardano.
What does this have to do with THORChain?
Everything. The fact that you don't know that speaks to why you haven't made the money you could be making. But that's okay. I don't blame you. That's why these conversations are important, because it's about freedom, Kenton. Fuck the THORChain. It's, hey, are you into XRP? Are you into Bitcoin? Are you into Solana? Do you want to be free? Do you not give a fuck about sending Brian Armstrong an update of your fucking ID every 6 days? Fuck you too. You know, do you want to revoke your citizenship to the U.S. because people say they will imprison you if you exercise your First Amendment right? But it's all in Solana, and now here I am in Italy with my new baby and my new wife that I couldn't afford back when I was poor, but I was on blockchain. But flicker. I had $1.9 million of Solana. I'm retarded because I didn't realize that that's the 400 terabyte, not a freedom blockchain. But fortunately, guess what, Kenton? I have THORChain, and without anyone's fucking permission, I can go from Solana to Bitcoin or Litecoin or Cardano or XRP or free markets.
Hey, Cardano.
This is how we win.
Hey, Cardano.
This is the hope that springs eternal, and this is the conversation that no matter what your vibe is, I bet you could get people buying T-shirts, attending a local event. Do you feel me, Kenton?
Yeah.
So I'm bullish on where THORChain's going because they're having these conversations. And these are the conversations that aren't, hey guys, next week we're pushing the stack update. It's no. Do you want to feed your babies? Do you want to find freedom? Okay, what THORChain is, guys, is banks, right? They keep 100 grand, they make 20% on it, and they give you 3%. What THORChain and DeFi allows you to do is make that 20%. So if you have $100,000 of capital lying around in your sovereign digital asset wallet, you Bitcoin, Litecoin, Cardano, whatever the hell, you can go into liquid finance. You can lend more than a dozen stable coins for 10-15% interest. Right now on Coinbase, you get 4% for Circle. So what I'm saying is what THORChain is a fundamental necessary prerequisite to freedom. I would say I call them freedom pools of capital, right? Basically, what the future is going to look like is this. There are idiots that need sky daddies. Fine. We can tell them, where the freedom is. It is their choice. I often say that we are entering the age of magic in the era of UTXO. What does that mean? Before 20 years ago, if your daddy wasn't rich, if you didn't go to the right college, if you weren't born in the right place, if you didn't have the right melanin content, you might not have had a future. Now, with how quickly technology is changing in this era, as they say, the era of the single person, billion-dollar publicly traded company. Imagine George Lucas as a 20-year-old given the artificial intelligence movie creation tools that will exist not just now, but in 12 months, 18 months. You're telling me Star Wars launched from one brilliant person's brain is obviously not going to wait 3 to 5 business days? Is obviously going to be locked on Bitcoin, right? Because every time someone watches Star Wars about to be, do you feel me, in the land of the free? So that's the thing, is these excitations and notions are their own fires that inspire value creation and participation. Our boy was right when he said it's community, guys. We are. So what is a public, I'll land the plane here. What is a publicly distributed ledger? What is the power of Bitcoin?
Bring it home.
Thank you, brother. It's a globally distributed and decentralized validation and consensus. Okay, so distribution and decentralization. Just because if it's all owned by Google all around the world, it doesn't matter if it's running out of 20 different large nodes, right? It's all Google. So not only does it have to be distributed, it has to truly be decentralized, which means the people making the decisions, the minds that control it, are also distinct. Which means if I levy an argument for why you need to update your code or be afraid of something or be hopeful, whatever my argument is, you want many minds to be convinced. These meme coins that can collapse are because 5 people hold the supply. You can convince 5 minds or coordinate 5 minds and you fuck everything. Whereas a good free market is millions of minds making millions of decisions.
CK, you wrap this up. Bring this back to THORChain. How is this all relating to THORChain?
Hey, man, bro.
I gotta go
that's
soon too.
discouraging that you don't know that, but that's
All
okay,
right.
bro. I'm landing.
Well, go soon. So yeah, just do that.
Yeah, bro. Validation and consensus. Okay, validation is hash rate and hardware. You got to be able to afford the hardware and plug it in, but someone has to say I do. Someone has to flip it on. So the validation is cool. I've got my SHA-256 miners. I've got my scrypt miners. I've got whatever blockchain I'm validating, but there's also mines that say I do, and that's consensus. So that's it. That's it, Ken. Thank you so much for allowing me to ramble.
Yeah,
I know that it went kind of far afield.
I was going to tell you,
but my intention here was to give you fruit that your community, whether I never speak here again, can literally unpack, return to, and hope will spring eternal. And Baloney knows that it looks like a lot of the folks in this room know. Thank you so much, Kenton, for the time and for just entertaining my wild energy here. I appreciate you, bro.
Hey, man, I just want to tell you, Maya Protocol is going to add ADA, which is a fork of THORChain. So definitely, something to look out for. Okay, because then you can swap your ADA or swap into ADA from it. But thank you for that. Baloney.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Baloney.
Thank you so much, bro. I've got a friend that works at Maya Protocol. I'll just say this. We've got agentic bots that are waiting to do the arbitrage between Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Cardano, and then SNEC, and then Night soon, because it's retarded. All of those are UTXO based, all have finite supplies, all follow math. So something like THORChain could literally just plug into a bot that's just going to make everyone, I don't even know you guys, right? Going to make you all a lot of money, and that becomes freedom. Because then anyway, thank you so much for that update, and for everyone.
Yeah.
Shout out to Maya Protocol. Powerful stuff.
Perfect.
Thanks, CK. Love your energy.
Yes, indeed. Baloney, did you say you have to go soon? I want to make sure that if you have anything else you want to say, please say it. I mean, and first off, dude, I'm so glad you came up here. I'm so glad we did this, man. You're an absolute legend. So my hat to you.
Yeah, I would say that if anyone in the audience is wanting to speak and ask a question about THORChain community or to me directly, more than happy to do that. I want to answer questions. I don't think I've got a 4-hour drive ahead of me, so I'm trying to get on the road at some point. But I do want to make sure that I have time to answer questions if anyone does have that for me, rather than I gotta I would say maintain the focus on that, or then I'm probably gonna ship off and start driving.
Yeah, I don't see anyone requested. There's a couple of people requested earlier in the space. I purposely did not approve them so that I could let you speak, Baloney, but they dropped off. So anyone else, if you've requested, I'm sorry, I'm not seeing it. Maybe we'll give you a little bit more, give people a little bit more time to request.
Use in the comment section right now, guys. We have a comment section for once, so use that.
I can never follow them. I always get distracted trying to look at those. Are you reading them, Patriot?
Yeah, I'm reading them. No one really has any questions. Okay. They're all just super excited. by all the stuff that we've been saying, man. So I love it.
Well, maybe we should wrap it up then. You know, we don't have to drag this out if I feel like we're kind of done. Is there anything else, Baloney, that maybe we didn't talk about that you do want to bring up, you do want to address or anything?
Nah, man, I would say hop in the Discord and follow us on X and the THORChain community. I mean, it's whether you want to follow me or not, it's up to you. I would say, but definitely keep tabs on the THORChain community side of things and what our umbrella is going to be delivering come September and through the rest of the year and beyond is going to be there's a redemption arc happening on multiple fronts. I would say THORChain's one, and I think it's you know, the redemption arc of what was once LPU and then TCU and now TCC. There's a redemption arc coming here for us too, and reclaiming importance and utility in the community. And I'm looking forward to being able to provide the THORChain community what we can do.
Here, here. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Patriot.
Well, I was just say, and you know, shout out to Baloney. We've collabed a few times in the past. I don't know if you remember the whole impermanent loss protection going away. You know,
Sure do.
And we worked together, and Kenton helped me with that as well on, you know, making something really nice, because you are a master with the written word, and I think you're just such an important part of this community. You're an older OG than myself. In fact, you probably educate me. I know Sam Yap definitely did. So, man, I am just so happy that we finally got to do this space, because you're one of those guys in the background that's just such an important, like, central pillar of the foundation. And I don't think people hear your voice enough. So, man, I'd love if you'd come on these spaces more, because you have this huge breadth of knowledge and huge amounts of experience, and you have excellent instincts, dude. So I'm just so happy I got to talk with you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate your guys bringing me on and finding a value in the old structures. We've got good bones, you know, and I'm looking forward to showing everybody the new house we built. So I'm stoked about it.
Bones squared. We've got good bones and baloney bones.
Yeah,
Bones squared.
there you go. Clever, Kenton.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, yeah, everyone, thanks for coming. Great doing this with y'all. Guys, these spaces are for you. So if you have any suggestions for topics, if there's, you know, anybody else that wants a platform, any other projects, anybody contributing to THORChain, would love to come up, let us know. You know, we're always looking for content. Next Saturday, we're going to have the Bitcoin Cash community join us, September 13th. We've got that NFT project that we're talking about that we can't pronounce in Einherjar. Sorry, guys. We'll find out. September 13th. Tune in. We'll find out how you properly say it. September 20th, we got Eric from Mocha. Mocha is launching their app, so Eric's going to come talk about it, tell us all about it. And September 27th, we got Hands and Hands Only from Rujira. So I'm asking questions, you know, hear from that big brain. And with that, we'll talk to you next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye.